Great, you are welcome back. So we are giving you one of our paid class for free. This is a complete course on Adobe Photoshop. We will take you through from flyer to banner to core card to letterhead to everything. So by the time you are done watching this video, you'll be able to design everything in graphic design.
So what we are going to do, like we said, we are going to start from the very basic, even without any experience. That is what we are starting from. There's no need for you to have any knowledge on how to use Adobe Photoshop. All that you have to do is just watch the video, follow it through, and by the time you are done, you know everything about graphic design. So if you are wondering how I get here, just go to File, go to New, then you select the size of your choice. So if you select international paper, you have the various forms A4, A5 and what have you. After everything, leave the resolution to be 300, RGB color, leave everything, then you hit on OK. Alright, so this is Photoshop 2020. Maybe your own, the interface will be different. It doesn't matter, just follow the video. The tools are all the same. So every design, whether banner or flyer, comprises of shapes. So let's look at this particular designs. Now this is a flyer. Now you can see that this flyer is what shapes. This is a rectangle. We have shapes. Okay, let's move on to the next design. The same thing. The next design. Good. So that is what we are going to start with. Shapes. Alright, welcome back. So as you saw on the various designs, it comprises of different shapes with colors and other things. So that is what we are going to start with. Now this tool is the move tool. So let's move downwards to this side. Let's click on the arrow here for it to give you the various tools that you have here, the various shapes, sorry. So let me use the ellipse tool. For you to draw a nice circle, press the shift on the keyboard and then click and drag. Now you can see that the color of this shape is white. That is why we are not seeing anything. So we will change it. Let me draw another one. And then a small one here. If you made a mistake whilst you are drawing, just click on Ctrl Z and then you are done. Great, so we have our shapes now. So let's change the color. For you to change the color, now after you finish everything, all that you have to do is come back to the shape, the move tool, sorry. So when you come back to the move tool, you'll be able to move all the things that you draw. So let me double click. Look at where the mouse is. And let me change the color. The same thing. Let me double click. Now let's assume that this color, you like this color, but you forgot where you pick it from. So when you double click and this color palette opens, just bring your mouse here and then you see that it has changed. Just click on it and you realize that you've selected the same color. So that is the first step, how you can draw shapes. Now that we have our shape, the next session we will look at how we can arrange the shape well, bring in text and what have you. Alright, you're welcome back. So like we said in the previous session, now we are going to look at how we can beautify the shape if you can recall the images or the designs that I showed you earlier on. So we are going to make use of stroke, but before we can apply the stroke, we have to select that particular shape. So just click on it to highlight. But before that, you can see that our background is white. Now let me click on the background here and then go to where you have the shape, pick the rectangle, let me draw it, then I'll go back to my move tool and I'll adjust it. Now anytime you resize a shape, come to the top here and click on the max size so that whatever you did will be activated. Now when you come here, you can see that we are not seeing any different because the color is white. Let me double click. I told you about using the color picker. So what Photoshop, the software, does automatically is that anytime you double click to change the color, then this color picker will select for you the eyedropper too. It will be highlighted automatically for you. So you see it's color picker. Now I'm not going to select any color from here. Now you can see all colors, as you can see here, all colors have code. So you realize that when I clean the FF, which was the white, it has given me black. So let's assume that I want a different color. I have the code, so I'll just paste it. Now you've realized that it has given me the color. So you can copy the code and then you paste it. So that is how you can also use the colors, change colors of whatever you want to do. Okay, now it looks as if they are almost the same. Don't worry, let's move on. So let's go to the stroke. Once we highlight it like this, come here where you have the FS, click on it and then you select stroke. When the pop-up comes, you realize that this is the stroke color. Let's change the color. And then you click on OK. It is too small, so this is the size, the pixel. Let's increase it. Good. So that is the color, the stroke. Now when you come here, you have position. Where do you want to apply the stroke? This is outside. Let's select the inside. You've realized that it has changed. So that is how you apply stroke. Now when you are done, click on OK. This is just a preview for you to know how the thing will look like. So let's click on OK. Now it's the same thing that we will do to apply to this. Now let me also say that in design, you see the stroke, it has added beauty to the shape, but at times when you use the stroke, you realize that you are not getting the design that you want. You want to use other things. Yes, let me show you the shortcuts here. I normally use it a lot in my design. Now you can see these ones are not stroke. Let me change the background color. If you want to change the background color, you see there's a lock here. Just double click to unlock it. Now it will give you this pop-up. Come to color overlay and then it has given us the previous color. If you don't want it, let's choose black. Then you click on OK. Good. So this is the first circle. Let me put it, hide it. Now if you want to hide anything from your working space, you just click on the eye icon here. So I just drew one shape and then I drew a second one which is smaller. So that is how I use. Let me turn all of them off. So you can also apply this trick to add beauty to your shape. Let's assume that you don't want to use the stroke. Let's go back to our previous work. So here, the stroke that you've applied to the shape. We have another options here, shadow and other things. Let me talk about that one briefly. The shadow is black. opacity. Now in graphic design, anytime you hear opacity simply means how visible you want something to be. So let's say 100%. Now you can see that the shadow has taken effect on this particular shape. Let me turn it off for you to see. Now you've seen that there's nothing here. When I click on it, it has come. Now the degree here, the angle here, this is 90 degrees. Where you want the thing to be, you realize that it has now come up, so you just adjust it to wherever you want. Now this is the distance. How far do you want the shadow to be away from that particular object? Now this shadow, I will not go over it again. When we in our subsequent sessions where we are on text, it's the same thing. Now the spread to how you want the thing to cover, and then the size, how big you want the thing to be. Now in graphic design, anything that you are doing, make sure you do it in moderation. Other than that, it will distort the beauty of your design. So to wrap up on shadow and stroke, here we have a lot of options. Blending mode, we have normal, dissolve, and what have you. Kindly play with them. The one that works best, you select it. So we will end this session here. Then in our next session, we will look at introduction to text.
Alright, you are welcome back. I'm sure you are enjoying the video. So in this session, we will look at text. So after you've typed in your text, you can see that there are some beauty over there. So see, when you click, you realize that it adds beauty to it. So I've just unchecked them. So let's start. Alright, you are welcome. So just come to where you have the T under the tools, and then when you click on it, you see that the cursor or the mouse will change. So just click and then start typing. So if you are using the Adobe Photoshop, let's say 2020 and above, as soon as you click on it, it will give you a dummy text for you to change it to whatever you want. Now for the sake of time, I have the text down, so let me paste it for you. Now the text is white and it is too small. So when the cursor is blinking, click on Ctrl A, select all, then let's change the size. Now you can see that it's up to 72. So in that case, you double click and then you key in the number that you want. So if it is 100, after you type it, just click enter, hit enter on the keyboard, and you get it. Now some of the fonts too comes with size, so you can see that bold, italic are also there, so you can select from them. Now let me change this font. Okay, now if you want to make this one to take effect, you can see here the mark sign is there. You click on it, or you use the enter key, you hit on it, or you can use that thing you see over there to send the thing back to where it was. So that is it. Now what I did, I just hit enter. So we are going to add designs to or beauty to our text. So that is what we are going to do, and then we are going to look at how we can modify this in our next session. You are welcome. So here we are going to add beauty to it. Now select it, go to FX, then bevel and emboss. Now you can see that this is the same palette or option we use for shape, the stroke. So here when you go, you select the bevel and emboss. Whatever you select, you can see that it is taking effect. If you can look at the thing carefully, it is taking effect. So you will just be adjusting and playing with it. Now make sure that whatever you do is in moderation. So when you are done, then you go down there, you can see the options over there. So you realize that when I change on the color, it is taking effect. So the angle and the degree, it works the same way as the shape, adding stroke. So when you select screen, it will lighten it. If you select normal, it will be the normal color. Multiply to make it darker. So just play over it and then you select the one you want. So go over the options, the one that works best for you. You can see that you have opacity. That is how visible you want the thing to be. So that is it. Now we can also change this color depending on what you want. So anything you select, you realize that it will be taking effect. So we have the highlight mode and the shadow mode. Just play along with it to add beauty to your text. So I'll go back to the white. Now let's see the stroke. Now we can add it and add it anything that you want. It's like the shape, so I won't talk much on it. So we have the outer glow. Go to the color options. You can change it from white to any color. Now as the thing we did in the shape is the same thing. You change the color, the spread and everything. So basically if you get the concept in the one that we did, that's how it will be. So we are looking at the shadow. Okay, so we are looking at the shadow. So you can see that, let me uncheck it. Now when I check it, so in design is in moderation. You can change the style, whether normal or whatever. So just play with it and then you adjust it. This interface is the same as when we are applying stroke. So we can also adjust the text by using the anchor point. So when you hold it and you drag it like this, you see that everything is moving. But if you don't want to, just press the shift key down. Yes, the shift key down so that it will enlarge it. Then you click on the mark sign or you press enter. So you can also use this thing there that you use to modify the shape. So let's go up like this. Now you've seen that it has changed. Then if I also come down, that is it. Now if you want to have something like this and it's too big, just go and change the font. Then after that you click on whatever you want to do and then it will take effect. Okay, so we are done with adding beauty to our text.
Alright, so from the shapes up to text, the skills that you've acquired, we want you to design something simple and nice, catchy, like the words you are seeing. It shouldn't be I'm learning a new skill. It can be anything. But you can also do that one in a form of advertisement. Then you save it as a picture and you share it at our various social media platforms. As you are consistently sharing it, people will be noticing you, and by the time you are done, you will be getting contracts. So design something nice. You can put in a shape or whatever. Then you save it. You go to file, then you go to save as, and then you select as picture the JPEG, the first JPEG options, then you save it. After that, you share it on our various platforms at Surf Brand Concept. You're welcome back. So, as you can see on your screen or on my screen, whatever screen it is. Okay, so that is what we are going to do, how we can bring in an image into our design. Let's start then. Okay, so for it to be easy for you when you are importing an image into your workspace, whether you put them in a shape or you want to you want the image to be below a text, whatever you are doing, where you want the image to be. Because note that in Photoshop, when you are doing something, the first thing you see background, then so it will be building upon it. Yes, if you want to do what you are going to do, clipping mask, that is putting images in a shape, just select that particular shape like this, so that when we bring in the image, it will just come right on top. Now there are two ways. Let's go to file and click and place embedded. Then you can double click or just click once and click open, whatever way it works best for you. So once the image is in, let's click on the max sign. Good. We want the image to be in this shape. So let's click on the image, right click and say create clipping mask. Then that is it. So all that you have to do is hold the anchor and then you drag it. Now in case you are using you want the shape, the image you are dragging to be nicely done in the shape, just press the shift down and then control it. Now let me use the other method. That one is the drag and drop. So we are going to use the drag and drop. This is the image, so I'll just drag and drop it, then you click on this. So you see what I was saying. Now this is the image, the shape that we want, but where is the image located? First, so for it to be made, you have to drag it and come and position it on top of the shape. So that tedious work. That is why it's advisable, whether you are using the drag and drop or you are using the file and place embedded type, always make sure you select the shape and then you are done. So let me drag and then bring it in. So you either hit enter or you use the max sign. Okay, so we are done with importing image into our workspace. So all that I have to do is I have my text. Now you know how to bring in text, so let me make them visible for you to see how the design is. So this part is over now, how you can import an image in your design. Now let me show you one thing. Do you know that the clipping mask, we can also do the same thing in text? Watch the next session. Great, you are welcome back. So let's see. Now you can see that this looks very beautiful. Thanks for watching. Kindly subscribe to my channel. Yes, you know that is the deal. If you subscribe, you get notification for any video that we will release, and then it will also help my channel to grow. Thanks for understanding. Now let's move on and see how we can do this. Okay, so you bring in the pictures that you want to use as the clipping mask in the text. Now it follows the same rule like the shape. So I want to use this one on the time. So I right click and say, so all that we have to do is let's drag it and then for it to fit. So where you want the thing, the text, the image, the portion you want it to be. Now you click on OK. So let me do the same thing for the watching. That one is on top of the watching, right click, create clipping mask. Now you just drag it. So you can leave it like this, or you can move on and add another thing. So anytime you do a clipping mask, note that when you click on the other shape or text, it is the image that will be selected. So if you want to make any changes, it will rather affect the image. So go to the thanks and then let's go to the FS, you know it already, and add stroke, only stroke. And let's do the same thing for the watching. So it's done perfectly. Very nice. Now you can see that at the background of this one there are some shapes. Yes, that one, so I drew two shapes. When you go to shape and draw the polygon you want to use. Great, you're welcome back. So moving forward, we are going to look at how we can remove image background whilst we are maintaining the quality. So as you can see here, this particular picture, it has no background, so I can move it. So that is what we are going to look at in this section. So let's start then. Great. So in Photoshop, we have a lot of options that you can use to remove image background. Now the first one we are going to look at the magic one. So let's right click on the image and then select rasterize layer. Come and click on the magic one and then click on the image once. Now the magic one tool works best when the image has a uniform background like this particular one. So hit the backspace on your keyboard. You see that the background is gone. Then Ctrl D to delete everything. So that is how you can remove background of images that you've downloaded from the internet. So that is the first one. Now what if the image has different background? For instance, this particular image, this vehicle, you can see that the background is made up of different things. So in our next video, we will look at how we can also use another method. Alright, you are welcome back. So let's rasterize it, and then let's try to apply this magic one and see. Let's click on anywhere. So you see, because it has different shades of colors, you cannot use the magic one. So let's move on and then select the next option here, which is the lasso tool. So with this one, when you click like this, you just move around the objects. Take your time. I'm moving faster because if I want to go by the normal pace, I will not finish today. So when you get to your starting point, you realize that the cursor or the mouse, there will be a round circle. So it means that you've reached or you've come back to where you started. Now you can see that it has been highlighted or it is selected. So you can see I can lift it. You go to the move tool, then you lift it. Let me send it to where the lady was. Then I will leave it like this. Good. So let me send it below the lady so that it will be behind. So that is the second method by which you can remove background of images. Now let me go to select and say deselect. So you've realized that the thing has been distorted. It happens because when I selected it, I was supposed to, when the thing was highlighted like this, just pick it once and send it. Pick it once like this and send it. So in this case, when you go back, it will still be there. So when you go to deselect, the image is still there. So that is another option. Now another tool is the lasso tool. There's three options. You can use all of them. Now let's move on to the pen tool. We use the pen tool to also remove background. It has a lot of options. So let's see. Now the pen tool to the same way. Now you can click it. Let's assume it was a curve and do whatever you want to do. Now you can see that with the pen tool, when the thing ends, it is still in the editing mode. Nothing has been selected. Now let me go back, right click, and then you see delete an anchor point. So if you click here, you can see that it has changed. There's a minus sign there. It will delete this anchor point. If you want to add, let's say that place is a curve, you want to add another one, go there again and click on add anchor point. So when you come here and you click, you see that to add it for you. So after you've selected everything, you trim it. Just right click on that object, and then you go to make selection. Click on OK, and then you realize that it has selected the thing for you. You go to the move tool, then that one too, you can move it to wherever you want to move it. Good. So that is it. Now go to select and deselect. Now the last option on how you can remove unwanted part of an image is the use of crop. So this tool. Now before you use this tool, make sure that the image is not on where you are doing your work. So create a different thing for a different working space, and you understand why. So when you crop the thing like this, then you click on the mark sign. So let's assume that this was at your working space. Where is it? It was here, and then you apply it. Everything will go away. That's why I said it's important you create another working space. Then you do your cropping and everything there. You bring it to your working space. So we will end this session here. I hope you enjoyed it. Pick any picture, try to change the background, and then you know how to bring in an image. You can bring in another image at the background. So that is where we will end this session. So in our next session, we will be looking at how to use gradients in our designs. So stick and stay.
Alright, you are welcome. So this will be the second part of our tutorial, and we are still going to continue where we ended with the other one. So we are moving on with the tools as usual, and we will take you through a step by step so that by the time you finish with this our tutorial, you become a professional graphic designer on your own. So keep watching.
Alright, you are welcome back. So what we are going to look at is gradient, how we can use the gradient to add beauty to designs. Now, most of the designs that you have been seeing, the designers make use of gradients too. So you can see that the down parts here and then the top, the colors are different. That's how you use the gradient to blend two different images or colors. Now look at this carefully. You can see that there's a lion head here. Now if you want to zoom in and out your work this side, and then once you click on it, it will be reducing if it is the minus sign, and then if it is the plus sign to be increased. Or better still, just hold the mouse, click and hold. So if you click and hold, it will be reducing. But if you click and hold and you bring it forward, though is subtraction sign that is supposed to reduce, it will increase. And then you can also do the same thing for the plus as well. Or you use the shortcut Control on the keyboard and then you click on the plus icon. So Control plus the plus icon to make it bigger, and then Control plus the minus icon to make it smaller. So these are the shortcuts that you can be using. Normal copy and paste, undo is the same thing. Okay, so let's move on. Now we are going to apply the gradients. So the first method, we have various ways. Once you click on this, you see that I have an option here. Make sure that the first one is selected. We're going to apply it on this shape, image. Make sure it is also selected. Now the color, in your case, if it is the first time you're using gradients, it will be black and white. Then you can change it. So when you click on it, you just click on this color here, then you realize that you can change the color. So let me select this, click OK. If you want to know the opacity of this color, it's the top here, so you can change it. Now when you come to this side, it's color white, but we put the opacity to 0. So after you've selected this, just click down here and drag the mouse up. Now you realize that it is covering the base of the car. So you do that. If you don't do it well, it will not be nice. So take your time and do it well. Okay, so you can see that it is gradually covering the base. Okay, so that is how one way you can use the gradient. Now another method is, we are not going to use this one. Come to this side, right click, and then let me go back here, right click and then go to gradients. So you realize that as soon as you select go to gradients, it will give you. So this was what I was talking about, the default one. Then you can change it to any color that you want. Click on OK. You can change the angle. You click on OK. So that is another way. Or using this one was the gradient fill. Or if you don't want to use a gradient fill, then let's use Control Z to go back. Now let's move on to applying layer mask. So after you apply on the layer mask, you have applied it. So let me sure it is selected. You can see that there's a white line on it. Then come to gradients. So anything that you do, all the effects, it will be on the layer mask. So let's assume that I right click and say disable. See, you can have it, and you can also delete this one from here, the layer mask, and you have your image back. Now the last aspect is merging or blending two images together. So I have this orange and the lion here. In that case, you are going to make use of another tool, which is the brush and layer mask. So let me select layer mask first, then the brush. Go to where you can adjust the size of the brush and select the soft one. When you select soft, you realize that the hardness has reduced. Now when you come here, white and black, if the black is down like this and you paint or you color, the thing will not come, the line will not come. So click on use this small icon here to swap it for the white to go down. Now when you realize that as soon as you start to, the lion will appear. Now you can see that this one, the blending is not nice. So with the soft edge, you can reduce the opacity a bit, and then when you click here, you will see that the thing is coming. But in this case, it's not like the first one. So that is how you can use the brush and then the layer mask. Let's move on to another tool. I'm giving you most now. It's like I'm covering most of the tools so that when we start with the design, it will not be difficult. Let's assume that I want to put this car in a frame. Come here, this is the frame, draw it, go to the move tool, pick the car and come and position it within the frame. So automatically it will pick it. Then you adjust the size. That's all. Good. So now that we are done like this, let me also give you another shortcut. Let's assume that you have been designing A5 flyer and then you just want to modify few of them and make use of the same flyer. Just go to image. When that working space is there, go to image. Come here and say duplicate. You give it a name. So all that you have to do is change the images and other things and you are good to go. So let us make good use of this marquee tool. Let me select this particular portion of the orange. So it works just like all these tools. When you select it, you can apply specific effect to it. Now this blur tool, let us rasterize the layer first. Now let's come and increase the size and then let's select hard. So let's look at something. So you see we are applying specific effects here, but it's not every when I click here it will never come. Why? Because we have selected this particular portion. So this orange like this, you can just apply this. Now let's reduce the opacity a bit. So let's assume that I want this particular part to be a little bit. It will never affect this because we've used a marquee, rectangular marquee tool to highlight that part. The same thing, you can also use either the lasso or the pen tool to particular portion of an image, then you apply an effect to that particular portion. So let me go back and say deselect. Now let's come to this tool. This area is dark, so we want to brighten it. So use this one to also brighten an image. Now look carefully, you can see that dark area is now moving away. So that is how we use it. We use the first one, which is the blur tool, to blur, let's say the image is too bright, and then we use the dodge to brighten a darker image. So that is it. Now you can see that I can apply it and then you see it is taking effect. Look at the orange, this particular portion. Great, so we will end here. Now we've covered almost all the tools. So we use the same principle to design other flyer or banner. It's the same method. So let's meet in the next session. Alright, you are welcome. I'm sure by now you know how this particular flyer was made. So that was why we started from the very beginning, step by step. So the background that you see here, I use gradients, you know it, we've done that one, and I brought in images and text and what have you. There are some designs that when you see the picture quality is very bright and other things, don't worry, it's not magic, it's something that you can do. I think here is okay. Now come to this side and then right click. When you right click, select levels. In fact, all those things here, we've talked about the gradient, you can go through and then practice. When you select the levels, come to this side, wait for it to load like this. I'm dragging this one, look at the design. You can see that it's becoming darker and darker. So let's move to this side. You've realized that the image quality has improved. It's now very bright. So that is how, see, this one is even making it more brighter. So that is how you beautify images or whatever you want to call it. Let's adjust it in a way that it will make the design to be nice. Okay, so you can see, I think this one is, let me give it a white a bit, whitish, yep. So that is the levels. You can also apply bright hue and all those things. So if we uncheck this, look at the design, and then great. So we are done. This is a flyer. Now this same thing can be a banner. That is, if you select a bigger size, it cannot be printed on a sheet of paper, so they will print it on a banner. So that is it. It can also be a poster depending on the size. That is how we get the name. So don't say you did not tackle on banner design. Okay, so the same skills we use to design this simple flyer, it is the same knowledge you use to design a banner and what have you. So it's the same knowledge, nothing new. Okay, so that is one thing I wanted to show you. With the flyer design, you can use it in check poster and everything. You end this session here. Then in the next session, we are going to look at letterhead, then we look at core cards and product label. Hi there, with these skills that we've acquired, now design a simple product flyer. Pick any product at all, design it, and then share it on our various social media platforms at Soft Prime Concepts, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Design it and share it, and let's see how far you are doing. Alright, you're welcome. Thanks for following from the beginning up to this. Now we are going to design a letterhead, and normally you know that letterheads are A4 in nature, most of them. So just go to new and select the A4 sheet. Let's go to shape. Now you know how to draw shapes and other things, so I'll do those things off camera and then we will continue. Alright, so I have my shapes here, something simple. So I can even just like this and put in the name of the business just like this, but let me show you how you can modify shapes like we did in the beginning. So click on this, let's send this a bit so that at least you have some design there. Now let me copy this, and for you to copy, the shortcut is Ctrl J. Now you realize that it has copied, so copied one is on top. Let me select the first one. I want to bring it down and give it a different color. So for you to get a color, just double click and then let me see. So then when you come down to the down part 2, when we come here, let's go and then modify it. Okay, then this side should go a bit. Yes. Okay, so we're almost done. Let me delete this. I don't need it. Okay, so we are done. You put in the name of the company, the business, and what have you. So let me say name of business. It's not coming because the color is also red, so definitely it will not. So you do proper arrangement. Then you bring in the contact details. So letterhead is ready. Now let me show you a trick that you can use to change the color of most of the icons that you download, the social media icons. Always when you are downloading, make sure you download one with a solid color. So like you know already, right click and rasterize the layer first. After you finish, double click. Look at where I'm doing the double click. It should be on blending options. None of this is supposed to be selected. Now come to this side and then move this. You've realized that the black is fading, so you come to color overlay. Now you change the color, let's say red. Perfect. So that is how you change the color of most of the icons. Now if the icon is not like this and then they have a shape, that one you cannot apply the color overlay, so regard it accordingly. Now let me use this here. Okay, so let's do the same thing for the core icon. I've rasterized it already. Then you make sure that there will be no trace. So that is how you change the colors of icon that you want to use. So you use the same thing when we are learning, we are designing core cards. And okay, so we are almost done. Now you can take an object or a text or anything from one working space to the other. Now you select them here by pressing and holding the control down and clicking at this side, not on the working space. After that, come and pick it. Okay, so once you hover the mouse, it will open automatically and then you leave it. Now always make sure that your icons are small. They should be small, because if it is too big, it will distort the beauty of the design. Alright, so our letterhead is ready. We will end here, and then in our next session we will look at core cards. So with this skills, we want you to design a letterhead either for yourself or for a friend and share it on our various platforms at South Prime Concept. Alright, you are welcome. So thanks for watching from beginning up to this point. We are going to design core cards. Go to File, New. So we are going to use 8 inches by 4 inches. Click on OK. Great. So now in some cases you will see bleed. The bleed simply means that you add space so that when they print they can cut. That's all. So I'll bring in shape, and you know it already. I'll draw shape and then modify it for time factor. I'm not going to capture that one. I'll do it off camera. All that I'm going to do is I'll use this and then take my time and get a nice design here. Alright, so let me change the color. Then I'll change the color for this. So something simple. You can put the name here. So let me copy my text and then everything will move on faster. So let me say the CEO. Let's give the title. Then you reduce the size. It shouldn't be the same as. Then name of business. Let's say business name. Let me change the color. It's advisable you pick a color that is visible. So if you are designing the thing for only fronts, the core card you have front and back. If it is only the front, then you have to add the business activities as well as the contact details of the person. So let me copy and test and paste them here. So our card is almost ready. Now you can add bulletin here. This one depends on how you want to do it. You can add bulletin. Now let me underline the name, and then that is all. I'll put another shape. The services too, you can put something under it. Now make sure that you get a logo, an icon for the website. Now one thing I want to show you is that normally when you are designing, your items should be in line. So use the ruler here, see, to ensure that everything is nicely positioned. Let me adjust this small. Alright, everyone needs a core card, so design one for yourself and share it on our various social media platforms at Saffron Concept. So the name is here. It's the same name: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, everywhere. So you can tag us and share your design. We want to know, or we want to see how you are progressing with your skills. Alright, you're welcome. So you are going to design something simple for a product, a label for a product. So I actually did this one for a client. So I'm going to take you through the process I followed in designing this, or how I came by this design. Okay, so you go to File, New. Now you have to take note that the size is very, very important. Make sure the person gives you the accurate size. So 6.3 inch and then 1.38. Then make sure that the resolution, all this while we are using 300, that is the default one. It depends on the version of Photoshop you are using. I think each version comes with a different resolution. So once the printout or the design is very small, make sure that you pick 500 and above. Normally I pick 1000, the resolution. The reason is simple. It will help you get a very nice printout when you finally print the work. So once you are done, you hit OK. Now you can see that the background is white. So I'll draw a shape. So let me draw the shape. Let me select a rectangle and then I'll fill it with a color. So I'll double click. So for the sake of time, you know how to bring in text and other things. So I have the text already. I've hide them. So I will activate them, then we can move faster. So great. So these are the tests that I have. Now let's see. You can see that some are bold, and it doesn't mean that I type this one differently. So if I click on select, everything will be set. So all that you have to do, if you want to bold, just select this, go to the font and then select bold, or let's say bold and italic. So you use that option to differentiate between the ingredients and what have you. So that was what I used. Now this one, you can see that all the ingredients, they are in line. It's not magic. So let me show you. Go to view and then select show rulers. So you bring the ruler, the line there, click and then bring it down here so that your design, everything will be on point. It's very, very important, so that your design will be nice. So let's assume you are designing something and you are using the icons. This is how you can get the icons. Good. So let me activate the real name. All that you have to do is simple. Now you have to go back and add the effect that we talk about. So if it is this one, go to FX and then the effect that you want to add, you add all. After that you click. So I add bevel and emboss, stroke. I want to use that one, so you can try another one. Now after you finish adding the various effects, you have to bring in an image. It's very, very important. So the image that we would like to bring, I'll put it in a shape form, a circle. Press the shift down to get a very nice circle. Go back to move tool, then you position it well. Now you know how to bring a shape in, so I'll do that one off camera. Now let us modify this. So let's come to type and come to warp text. Now you can see that none is selected. So if you select any of these, this is how the text will behave. So let me select, let me hit OK. Great. So you see that this is how the text will look like. Very nice. Let me shift this one up. So you take your time, you look for some of the designs and then you do some and you modify it. So let me bring in the image and then you wrap up this session. So this is my image that I want to use. Let me right click and say create clipping mask. Now let me bring it here. So position it well. Great. Now you can see that the shape is so all that you have to do, instead of going to opacity and what, let's make it simple. Let's double click on this shape and then let's pick the same color. Now after that, let's go to stroke and then add stroke. You select the shape and everything. After that, hit OK. So our design is ready. So that is it. We are done. Now let's go to file. This time you will not select save as. Let's go to export and then select save for web. Great. So when this interface appears, save for web interface, you can see that everything is inactive. Just click on it. Now come to this side, click on and then select fit on screen. So you can read everything before you even save it as a picture. You realize that the first one that we were using, the save as, this you cannot get the options to read through. So it's very important. Use the save for web, then you can read everything here, and then you can also know the qualities of your design. Come to this side, you see very high, that is the quality. Blur is 0%, progressive and what have you. You can also change it to another format. That is it. After everything, you click on save. Now when you come up here, this is the original, the size is here, the optimized version, then 2 up, and then you can also say 4 up. So based on what you want to do, everything will show it up for you to see it. Now let's go to the first one, then you click on save. So it will take you back to where you want to save it. So this one, it will not give you a pop-up like the other one will give you a pop-up. You have to send it to maximum and save and other things. It will just save the work perfectly for you. So thanks for watching. Now in our next video, we will look at how we can brand a simple vehicle. Alright, so now that you have this skill, all that we want you to do is just pick any design for any label, design it nicely like this. You can imitate this one or you can pick any design. Then you share it on our various social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest. Just share it and then you let us know how you are improving upon your skills. Thanks for watching. Let's meet in the next section. Hello, you're welcome. Thanks for watching from the beginning up to this point. Now, I hope you've tried your hands on all the sessions that we've watched so far. So we are looking at how we can brand the vehicle. Now, in branding the vehicle, you have to take into consideration the door handles, the mirrors, the boots, and all the handles where you have the reflector, so that when you are printing, you are designing, you will not put text there, because when you finish printing and you are pasting them on the vehicle, you will be cutting and then you will not see the write-ups. So take note, and then you don't have to also put in plenty things because it's a form of advertisement. Now that you have this basis, let's move on and then start. So basically, these are the things I want to see on the vehicle. Everything here, you know how to do it, with the exception of the background. Now the background, when you go to FX, you go to FX, come to gradient overlay. Now when you select the gradient overlay, come to the gradient and then you hit on it. So I pick only two colors, light green, deep green. I just mix them and then I put two whites. So if you want to add a color, just click on it, and then when the mouse change to a hand like this, you see that I say click to add. So you just click and it will add the same thing. If you don't want to, just remove it. Now after you finish, you click on OK. So when you come here, linear is there and other things. So I selected angle, and that is how it is behaving this way. Then I also change the angle to -68. Great. So that is all that you have to do. After that, you save your work as picture using the various method of saving, either the save as or the export, and you select save forward. So when you are done, this thing that you see here, we call it mockup. Just go to freepik.com, and then you can search for all the things that you've done. You can search for mockup over there. If you want to know how to use this mockup proper, I have videos, previous videos on our channel. Just go over any of them, the ones that are graphic design, and then you follow on how to use the mockup. Great. So once you are done, that is all. This one is just for internet and then social media. The real one, take your time in design as well. Great. So let's look at two or more two tools, then we will end the session. The first one is before you can do anything, make sure you rasterize the layer, the image. The first thing is the spot healing brush. So what it does is that you can adjust the brush here. What this one does is that, let's assume that you don't want this whitish thing, the fat. All you have to do is drag and paint on it and then wait for some time. By the time that black thing is no more, it will disappear from there. That is it. And then we also have patch tool. Then the patch tool, let me demonstrate so that you get the understanding. Let me circle this side, and then let me drag where I selected and bring it here. So what the patch tool does is that if a portion is not good, circle that side and then you drag it to a portion that is nice to replace that thing. So that is the spot healing brush.
This session we are going to look at invoice, receipt, waybill, and how to design a book cover. So do stick and stay, and then don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos. Thanks, and let's get started. Great. So like I said in the intro, we are going to design a receipt, an official business receipt. So let's go to file, and then you use A5. So let's go to these options and then select international paper. Now the international paper will give us the options to select the A5 paper. So we select the A5, then we want to change it. So we want it to be in the horizontal format. So the 210 will go to the width, and then the 148 will come. Everything being okay. Make sure your resolution is 300 or above so that you can get high quality printouts. Now let's go to OK.
Great. So this is our receipt book. Now press Control down and press the minus key, the subtraction key, yes, so that it will be smaller. You can alternatively also use this magnifier to either zoom in or zoom out. So great. So now let's go to file. Let's go to view and then see rulers. I've enabled my rulers. They are no more. So your own, if you don't have them, go there and then show it. It will help you. Now don't forget that they will be binding. So let's leave a reasonable margin so that the binding will take place. Now everything being in place, let's bring in our test. So let's go to the test icon there. Then in fact, if you want to have an in-depth knowledge on how you can use text, apply stroke, bevel and other effects to text to make your work more nice and beautiful, watch our part 1. Everything is covered nicely. So let me put in the name of the company. Everything will be in caps, so I'll just type the name. Now you see that it has succeeded. Press Control down and then click on the A to select. Let's go to font size. Let's change it. Now if this is what you want, you see the mark sign there, click on it. Then let's go to the move tool, position it nicely. Now press the shift key down and then use your mouse to resize it instead of using the font size. Then you position it nicely. So in Photoshop, when you finish with any adjustment like dragging, you go up there to click on the mark sign, or on the keyboard press enter. So that is how you can do it. Now let me bring this ruler here so that we can arrange the things nicely and then we can have quality print. So for the sake of time, I have this type up there. I'll copy and I'll come and paste them so that we can finish early. So I'll just come and paste. Reduce the font size and everything. Let me select this. I think 16 will not be bad. Okay. Great. So our tests are now in. We have to do arrangement. Let's bring this here. Send this one up. Then the telephone number will follow. Location, email. So the location should come here a bit. Then let's put this one here. Okay, so we are good to go. Now let me bring in the logo of the company. So to bring in an image in Photoshop, go to File and click on Place Embedded. So it will take you to where you have your pictures. Then you just select it. Where's the logo? Okay. Alright. Now it's too small, so let me drag it a bit. Great. So now that the logo is in place, like I told you, come and click on this mark sign here. Okay. So let me bring this, move it a bit from the logo. Okay. So all that I did was you click and drag to select. So that was what I did. You can alternatively also use this side by you pressing the control down and then you'll be clicking so that you'll be selecting. Great. So you can see that everything looks the same. Now let's go to the test again. Click on this and then let me highlight this. Go to this side and then select bold so that it will differentiate the items. It's very, very important. There will be differentiation. So you don't have to separate the text, just put everything together. And then when you are done, you just click and then you do the necessary changes. So let me put dates here. So dates, then you bring the space, the person can write the date. Now let me write official receipt. It's very, very important. So let me also bold this. Great, I think that the font size is okay. Now let's come to the shape and then let's draw something. Now let me change the color to black. Because the color of the shape is black, the text will not come. So all that I have to do is change the text to white. I'm just trying to locate the text here so that I'll send the shape below it. Let me send the text up. Okay, so it's always advisable that you do the arrangement at this side. So now the text is on top of the shape. So let's go to text, Control A, then you select the white option, color white, so that it will appear. It's as simple as that. Now that we have this, let's reduce the shape small. So now that we have this one, now you can see that invoices and receipt, they have numbers. Don't worry, when you go and they do the printing for you, they will number it after the printing, so don't worry about that one. So let's bring this one up. Received from, let's go to test again, then let's bring our dotted lines. So received from, let me click on this, then the sum of, you go there again, you click on the same spot, make sure that everything is in line so the design will be very nice. Enter, another enter, so that the write up can go there. So the sum of, then you click on this, B. So what's the payment about? Full payment or half payment? For what? Let me click on enter, another enter. Okay, so that one too, you make it 2 lines, full payment for what. Now the receipt is now ready. What is left is cash balance. Use the column, then you put the balance there. Then you come to the check number, you put the check number also there. Hit enter. So you leave this one and bring it here. Now let's send this one up. Now come to this side. You can see that we have this vertical spacing and what. You see it is auto. Let's choose 18 and see. It's too big. Yeah, I think it's okay. 18. Now let's come to the signature column. So you just write the signature there and then you bring it down. So it's all about reasonable space and arrangement because the signature to the person is supposed to sign. And then don't forget that we must create a portion for the money to be written in figures. So let me draw this. Okay. Now you see we don't want anything here. So let's click on this color and click on no field. Good. Now let's go to, with the same shape being selected, effects, let's go to stroke. Let's change the color to stroke. In case this one you don't know how to go about these things, don't worry, just watch our part 1. We've covered stroke and everything, so you understand it proper. Great. So now our receipt is almost ready. Then let's go to the type tool again. Then let's write the currency sign. You can bold it depending on what you want to do. And that is it. Our receipt is now ready. And the good thing is, once you design it, you can print it and print and print. So just arrange them nicely and then your receipt book is finally ready. Now let me click on this. So in Photoshop, if you want to make a copy of anything, duplicate it. Instead of coming to this side, right clicking and come to duplicate layer, it's simple. Just select the layer, press Ctrl and press the J. So when I move the top one, realize that the down one is there. Now all that I'm doing is I want to put the logo here. Now make sure that you finish the design before you do this, because you've realized that the logo you realize that it has stretched and covered most of the things. So if you want to type, it will not give you that chance. Great. So now if this one is there like that, it will not be nice. So let's come to, either you use the opacity or you use the color fill, any of them. So with the color fill, it will reduce it, opacity to reduce it, because we want to use it as a watermark on the background. So I think this is okay. Great. Congratulations, your first receipt book is ready. So you save it as picture and then you are good to go for printout. So let's go to export, save for web legacy. Great. So when you have this space like this, just click on it, come to and say fit on screen. So everything is perfectly done. Now here you can read through and check for mistakes and other things. If everything is okay, then you click on save. So you give a name to it, and then you can send it for printing. So thanks for watching. Now in our subsequent section, we are going to look at invoice and waybill, but we will do invoice first. So let's meet in our next session. Now your assignment is simple. Design a receipt either for yourself if you have a business, or for a friend. Or if you don't have, you have to practice what you've learned. Just copy the details of this business. Design a nice receipt book, and then share it on our various social media platforms at South Prime Concepts, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, everywhere. Thanks for watching. Let's meet in our next session where we will create a professional business invoice. Hi there, you are welcome. So we are moving on to invoice and waybill. Let's start then. Welcome back. So what you are going to do is simple. We are going to create an invoice. Now for time factor, I use A5. You are designing using A5. You can use A4 depending on what the client wants. Now let me show you another trick. You see, we did the receipts. So all that I have to do is I want to send the same information because it's the same company to the invoice. So I'll just drag this like this, draw and cover it. Then you lift it up, point the mouse over them, then the new page will open. So we are done. The tests are now in. Press the shift button and then you drag this one for it to fit perfectly. Don't forget that this one we have to create margin also. Click on this. Alright, so because this one is an A5, so they will do the binding on top here. So that is where we will leave this. Okay, now the size too, let's leave a reasonable margin. This side also. Our invoice, we have the text, everything. The fact that we copied it doesn't mean that we can't edit it. We can edit it, so don't worry about that one. It's the same thing. Good. So let's come to invoice. You know the one, that one we wrote receipt. So here too, we have to write invoice. So invoice, Control A to select. Or let me even check. Okay, this font has bold. Now I'm not talking about the font and other things because, like I said, we've covered details on those things. So great. Any font you select in most of the fonts, they have options, so you check it and you are good to go. Now let me draw a shape. This time I will select round rectangle, then I'll draw it. I want a black color, so come here, bring the rectangle below the invoice, click on the invoice, and then you go to type, click on it, select all, white, and voila, you are done. So let's bring it to the middle. So let's come to another section, shape again. Let's draw another shape on top here. So if what we are doing, the color is disturbing you, come to this side. You can see that it's green. That is why it's giving us green, green, green. So let's change it to black so that anything you do, you get the color, the default color. Now let's draw another one again, the same shape. Okay, so you can see that automatically it has given us, but this time you don't want any color, so you will just select the no fill. Then let's come to effects and go to stroke. Don't forget that we apply stroke to the receipt that we are doing, so automatically that one will be selected. If you don't want it, you can adjust it, but for time factor, let's move on. So I want to divide this one into 3. I will draw small line here. Okay, so let's move on. Now you can see that we are not seeing anything. Don't forget that in our initial stage we selected no fill for this one. So that is. Now what about the drawings, that the shapes here? They are here. Now double click on this side, or just even one click is okay. But if you want to change the color, you can double click. But this time we are not going to use one color. So select this one, go to FS and say gradient overlay. Now with the gradient overlay, let's select 2 colors. So you will select black here, and then the next color you will select white. So let's do the adjustment and let's see. Okay, so let's change this one from angle to linear line. Great. So let's click on the gradient again. Now I want the white to be in the black, so you should go this way rather. Let me hit OK and then another OK. So I'll do the same thing for the other one that I drew here. I think this is the one. Okay, you go to FS, you go to gradient overlay. Now automatically it will pick. That is the beauty of the software, it will pick. So let me go to my type 2 and then I will type in date. In case you don't want anything, you can click on this. If you do something you don't want it, you can click on this. So date or day, let's say day, not day, rather day, and then it's supposed to be white. So if you don't want to select the color from here, because something color picker, this one we've covered it in our previous video. As soon as you want to change the color, When this one comes, just come and click. So you use this one to sample in the color. Let's assume I want to use this. See, it will take effect. Let me hit enter. Now the next one will be man. We are not seeing it because it's white and it's on white background. Then the last one will be year. So now that we finish, let's lift them and send them. So here you adjust it. Then the month is somewhere here. Draw a circle, you will see it. So okay, so you can take your time and adjust it to be nice. Let's move on. Finish with part 1. Now part 2. Part 2 is the details. Now let's see. So customer name. Now address of the customer. Use colon. So let's address and then telephone. Great. So now that we have this in session, let's move on and create the table. With this one in session, let's go to the shape. Now let's draw our first shape. So this is where our titles will be. Now let's move on to using of lines. So with the shapes, we have line there. So you draw the shape down so that we get a straight line, and make sure that it's okay with the lines, the margin that you've drawn. So that is number 1. Then number 2, you leave a reasonable space. So let's go to stroke. Now you can see that it's too big. Let's reduce the stroke. Yes, something like this. So you can see that it's now black. Now when you have this, there is no need for you to also draw another one. All that you have to do is copy and bring it. So the shortcut I gave you, Ctrl J, then you move it. Now let's assume that this is the space you want to leave for the invoice. Just draw this up to this one. Ctrl J, copy the 2, and then you bring it down. You copy this one again, Ctrl plus the letter J. Okay, so after this, let's go to the shape again. Now we are starting from this side. We are dividing the thing into 4. So the quantity with the line 2 selected, you press the shape down so that you get a straight line, and make sure that it will land exactly on the line. Let's come and apply stroke. Then this will be the description, so that place is supposed to be a little bit bigger. Then unit price. The benefit of pressing the shift key is that it gives you a straight line that you will not struggle. So these are our lines, our divisions. We have them drawn perfectly. So all that you have to do is we have to get the total, and then that one, let me select this. There are 2 ways you can do it, but I want the easiest way. You copy it, you bring it down here for the total. Make sure that it's in line. So once that you have this one, let's extend this line. Let's extend this line. Okay, now you have to clean this one from here because you don't need this. So it's easy, because when you are drawing, the rule is that when you finish with the drawing, click on the move tool and draw another one. If you don't click on the move tool and you continue to draw, everything will be as one shape. Let's click on it and say rasterize layer. So once you do that, go to the eraser tool and then you come and clean it. That's all this side, you will not need it. So only this. Now let's send this rectangle or what up so that you will get the cover on the invoice, the border line. Alright, so all that you have to do is you have to clean these things from here, or if you don't want to clean it, it's simple. Still bring it up. I did not click on the shift. Bring it up like this. Go to the effects. Let's reduce the stroke because it's too big. Let's use a line. Let's go there and then draw a line. Let's bring it down. Make sure that you bring it down like that. Then you draw another line. Then you join it. So you have your total column being done. So you can draw a rectangle to position it where I have highlighted. Then you remove the color and then you add only stroke instead of drawing lines. So let me take this one from there so that you can see it. Now the invoice is now ready. Let's also add. Now you can see that this one appears to be a little bit deeper because we drew a line. So all that you have to do is let's hide this one. Let's click on this line and delete it. So when we come to our shape and we bring it like this, everything is perfectly done. Now let's move on. The description, let me put in the description quickly. So quantity, let me then the description, unit price, then the amount. Now let's come to the down part here where we have signature. Our invoice is now ready. Now let's duplicate this, Ctrl J, bring it here. Now let's reduce the opacity. Great, so our invoice is now ready. Thanks for watching, and then let me see the invoice that you have done. Make sure you arrange them now. I don't want to do any arrangements. It's okay. So kindly subscribe to our channel and share it with your friends. Your comments are all welcome. And then in our next session, we are going to tackle way bill. It's different from invoice. That one will give it to drivers when they are sending goods. So stick and stay. Don't forget to design an invoice and share it on our various social media platforms. Thanks for watching. Alright, you're welcome back. So here we are going to look at how we can create a waybill. Now there's only a slight difference between the waybill and the invoice. So from our last session we covered how you can draw this your table and description. But if you can see, we have supplied to. So you are sending the goods to somebody. So the name of the person, the address, date, and the vehicle number is very, very important. Now when you come down here the one who sent the goods and the who authorized it. So I have my script typed in here. I don't want us to waste time, so I will just activate them. So dispatched by who, the storekeeper, and then the name of the driver, and then when the driver went, who received the items, goods checked and received by. So this is the slight difference where you have the vehicle number and then the storekeeper, the one who authorized that those goods should be sent to the person. So that is how you can design a waybill. It follows the invoice template, just that down here you just make some small changes and then you are good to go. So let me see your waybill that you've created for either yourself or a client or a friend. Share it on our various social media platforms, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. You know that one help us to grow, and share it with your friends. In case you are new and this is our first tutorial you are watching, kindly go and look for our part 1 of a comprehensive tutorial on all these tools. All these tools were covered and then they were not explained in isolation. Each tool was used to perform a task. So by the time you finish, you have numerous designs there that you can start advertising for you to get customers. So thanks for watching. Alright, you are welcome. So in this tutorial you are going to look at how you can design any book cover. So that is what you are going to do, like the one you are seeing. Now let's move on and then go to File, New. We are going to use A5, then you click on OK. Great, so this is where we are going to work. Now let me reduce the size, come to this side and then just click on and bring it forward a bit. Okay, so click and drag to bring it forward. We are going to make use of gradients. So come to the gradient. This is the gradient tool and this is the color. So let me check the color if this is what I want to use. Let me pick a little something more darker. Okay, hit OK. Now you click down here and then you drag up. Great. Now that we have this background, let's go to shape and then let me select the ellipse tool. So in Photoshop, if you want to draw a nice circle or a perfect circle, press the shift button down and then you drag it. It will give you a perfect circle. So now that we have our circle drawn, let's change the color. So let's say red. No, this red, I don't like it. So let's go back here to FS and then let's select the color overlay. So when you come to the color overlay, come and click on the color and then let's come to this side.
Now let's select OK. Now you can see that the opacity is 100. Opacity simply means how visible you want your thing to be, whatever you are doing. So let's bring it up here a bit. Okay. Now let me draw another circle, but this time it will be bigger than this. I did not use the shift. So let's see. Now come to this side, the right side here. Bring it under this. Great, so that you can see how you go by it. Let's maintain it like that. Then let's go to this circle, the bigger one. Click on it, and then let's come to this side. Click on it, and then click on no color or no fill. Go back. Let's come to the FX. Don't forget that the same shape has been selected. Selected FX. Click on it, and then let's go to stroke. So with the stroke, I want white. Then let me increase it, let's say to 5. Alright, then you hit OK. In case these things are very difficult or challenging, just pause the video and watch it. So let's go to the shape again. So now this color thing that pops up when you draw, I don't like it. So you can use the FX to change it, or you can double click. Look at where the mouse is. When you double click, the color will come. Then let me select yellow. You hit OK. Now I want it to be below this, so let's come here, drag it, and then let's drag it to the last one. Great. So you've realized that our design is now taking shape, but let's do something. Click on this as if you want to drag it. Now let's select these two. It helps us to modify shapes. Then you bring it here. I don't want the edges to be seen like that. Great. So then I'll click OK. So that is it. Or let me even say undo and reduce this one rather. It should be smaller than the circle. I think this one is better. We are almost done with our design. We are now come to put in text, and then we are done. Safety tips for everyone. Now let me come to this and then select font. I think this font will not be bad. Then let me increase it 48. Let's see if it will not exceed the circle. Okay. Now let's come to stroke FX and give this one stroke white. But I don't want it's too big. The stroke is too big. Let's reduce it. Okay, I think something like this is not bad. Okay, so let's leave it like that. Now we are done with the cover. You save it as a picture. Let's assume that you want to create the back of the book. There's no need for you to go to file and then create another one again. Go to image, say duplicate, then change the name, back, safety back. Then this is the back of the book. So all that you have to do is the things that you don't need, we will delete them. So let's delete everything, and then let's go to the grading. Let's increase it, let it go up a bit. Definitely we will put the picture. So let's say this is where the author's picture will be. Now I'm going to show you a shortcut. You can see that maybe you want to use the same template to design for somebody. The shape, just right click and say convert to smart hub. So in this case, this one has become a template. Anytime you want to use it, you double click the small arrow, then you put the picture here. So this is the picture I want to use. I'll just drag and drop. Now in Photoshop, there are so many ways you can bring. One of the methods is just what I did. You can also go to file and then you go to oh. When you bring in an image, click on this. Then go to file, place embedded. Then the image you want to bring. Let's assume it's this one. Click on place. Then it will come. If you want the image to be active for you to work on it, then this sign. But this one I don't need it. I want to use this. Now let's change the color for this one. Let's give it white. Now because it is a passport size picture, let's adjust this now. Now what you've inserted there, if you want it to appear, since we use it as a template, go to file and click save. So that after it has finished saving, it will appear
on our working space. So that is it. Now don't forget that this shape, we can go to FX and add stroke. So you change the color, you add your text. So let's go to text. Now the text, let me show you. Just draw the text box. Great, that is another one. And then when you come here to, you draw it. So this text that you see here is a dummy text. You can go to type and say paste, and it will paste everything for you. Make sure you leave a reasonable margin so that whatever you want to. So this is the front and this is the back. Thanks for watching. Kindly subscribe to our channel. Let us know your comments.
Great, you are welcome back. In this video, we are going to look at how you can design an envelope that you can print, any kind of envelope at all. So that is what we are going to do. We have different ways you can design them. It's pretty easy and simple. So let's move on right away to our Adobe Photoshop software. Great, you are welcome back. So the size we are using is 21 centimeters. That is the width, and then height is 11 centimeters. The resolution, I've increased it from 300 to 1000 so that we can have quality printout. When you are done, you give it a name. So let me say CH envelope, that is church envelope. Hit on OK. Good. So now this is our envelope that we are going to design so that when you go, they will do the printing for you. So let's move on to shape and then cover, background. So here the pop-up says no color, but I want a color, so let me fill it with that color. Go to the move tool. Now come to this side, the shape you drew, double click. Then I have a code I want to use. So if you want the code, that is CC00FF. Now that is all I want, so I will click on this lock sign to lock it. Then I'll draw another one again. This time I don't want it to cover the entire background, so something like this, and fill it with white. Great. So let me go to the move tool. Now I don't want the edges to be straight like this, so I want it to be curved. Let me put in 200 pixels. Here, if you leave this one like this and you hit enter, that is to be 2, it will be distributed evenly, 200, 200, or it will reduce it. So you can see that it is changing. The edges are changing. Good. So that is how I want it to be. Now let me position this one well, then I'll lock it. The reason why I'm locking it is that so that when you are bringing in another thing, it will not be disturbing you. So now that we have the background set like this, all that we have to do is bring in our text. So you can even unlock this one and group them. So press the first one and press the shift, press this one, right click and go to group from layers. You can see background, so BK, you click on OK. So if you realize that it has put them in a folder for you, then you can lock the entire folder. So now let's bring in our text. So what I did was that I typed all the information I'll be using. This one helps you to reduce or minimize grammatical or typing errors, and 2, it makes the work easy and faster. So let me send the logos first. Let me pick this and position it. So for it to be in line, just grab the ruler and then you can put it there so that everything will be perfectly done. If you are on the ruler is not showing, just go to view, you see the ruler, you click and then it will appear. So let me bring in the name. Let me click outside and drag across and come and paste it here. Then I'll increase the font size. Okay, 24 will not be bad, or let me say 30. Yeah, I think 30 is cool. Then I'll change the color to blue. hit OK or enter. Then let me increase this one to 18. I will change the color to blue, just like the first one. Then I will increase the size of this, let's say 30, no, 24, and I will change the color. I prefer this color. Okay, so that's how you pick color. You can, once the color palette pop-ups, just send your mouse to that color. When you click on it, it will change. If I click on white, you realize that it has changed. Click on the logo. I'm sure you've gotten the concept. So that is it. Now I want to space out the ministry a bit, the individual characters. So I'll come to this side and then let's say 25, or let me increase it to 50. Good. So let me position it right here, and then I'll bring this one to the center. That is the location. Let me increase it to 24. So now the first part is ready. If you are new and then you don't know where to get the text, is here. So let me put in invite the presence, but because we have increased 1 to 70, let's reduce it, else when we type we have to reduce the font size again. So invite the presence of, let me change the font. So let me change the font of this invite. Now I don't want to use the same blue. At this one I'll give it a lighter one. So invite the presence of. Now let's go there and bring this here, Dr. What have you? Then let's increase the size. That is too much. Okay, so that one I'll give it a black. Let's maintain the black. Let me bring this ruler here so that things will be arranged in order. So Dr. or Mrs. or whatever. Then I'll bring in another text. Come here and then increase the size to the so you are inviting somebody. Why are you inviting the person? To the make sure that you do proper arrangement for the thing to look professional. To they are celebrating their day, so to their women's ministry day celebration. Let me increase it. That is the main thing, so it should be bold at the back of the envelope. To their women's ministry day celebration. I think I can reduce the height a bit. Okay. Let's move on and insert the theme, envelope. The day that they are celebrating, they will have a theme that will guide them to celebrate their day well. So let's bring in the theme. I think I type it down, so let me go and pick it up. Where is it? This one I did not type it. Then let me send the theme. That is this two. Holiness. Okay, so we are almost done. Let me put the holiness here. Holiness for revival. Let me bring this. Let me put this in a shape on the shape. So let me draw a rectangle on this. Let me give it a color. I think I'll pick the same color. So let me pick any color from here. Then I'll come to this side and select this color. Good. Then come to this side, drag it and bring it below the text. Let's change the text color to white. Perfect, so that it will be visible. So we have our shape. Let me increase it a bit, and then I want it to have a curved edges. So let me say 100 for all. Press enter. Good. Let me increase the size. So what I have to do now is click on the shape and then widen it a bit, extend it. Let me reduce this. In fact, you can use the font size here or at times you can just hold the anchor points to reduce it or increase the size. Now let's reduce this. Great. So let's type the theme. I want to use this font, so if you want to use the same font, just click on it, go to the type, and then once you begin to type, it will be the same font. I don't want the font size is too small. Okay. Now you can see that the theme is too small. All that you have to do is increase the font size. Simple. So let's shift this to this side. Alright. So it has left with the date, the time, the venue, and then those that they are in charge, if they give the envelope and people want to call for clarification. Now let's do that one quickly and we are done. So for everything to be done perfectly, to be in line, use the ruler. It's always advisable. Then I will type RSV, but maybe I'll reduce the size to 16. Let me change this one to blue. Then let me slide it a bit. Great. So RSVP. Now let me bring let's say some red lines here, rectangle, to separate them, to add beauty to the design. That is all, and we will call it done. Then let's bring in our time. So let's draw a shape and we are good to go. So pick the rectangular to draw a line, and you make sure that it's very small. You fill it with color. It's blue. Okay, so now what is left is, we are not going to draw another one again. Let's duplicate this. Ctrl J, press the shift key down, and then use the arrow keys. This is the center, I guess. Ctrl J again, copy this one, press the shift key down. The reason why you are pressing the shift key, so that when you are using the arrow keys, it will move the thing fast. So in this case, all the lines are uniform and everything is intact. So that is how you design any envelope, whether it's for a church, you are going to use it for fundraising, anything you want to use it for. That is how you design. It's using Adobe Photoshop. Thanks for watching. Great, you're welcome. So it's been a while. I hope you are doing well with your skills. We are going to look at how we can customize shape in Adobe Photoshop. So as you can see, the banner I did for someone, you can see this shape, the shapes are used here. You can never get them here when you go to where we have the shapes. So that is what we are going to look at. Now you can see this one is a cylinder, and this one too is another thing else. Working area here, let's go and click on the shape. Let me draw a rectangle. Alright, you realize that after you've drawn your shape, you have this pop-up. Don't just close it, they are there for a purpose. So when you come here, you realize that you see some pixels here. Now this side is for this, and the another one follows like that. So let's see, let me put 500 here and hit enter. Good. Now you can see that it has taken shape. So if you want a cylinder, then it should be 500 throughout. I'm sure you understand, you are getting the picture. So if I put 500 here and then another 500 here, great. So you have your shape, very nice. But you can see that it's different. There's no problem. Or you can check this. So when you check this and you put 200, it will apportion them automatically. Or you can do them manually. So I don't want this side to be there. Let me do. And let me put 0 also here. So you realize that we have a very nice shape. So that is how you can get either a cylinder or this kind of shapes. So that is what I wanted to show you.
Congratulations! I'm now a graphic designer. We hope you've enjoyed this video. Kindly subscribe and then don't miss our next video.